am a teacher here, and welcome travelers. I don't know if you've signed in or not, but we're going to move it forward. We're going to start with this great little video. It shows a student from India and her traveling to Japan, and just kind of follows her. It's about a 2-minute video, and it just kind of follows what she went through.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Garcia. I go to Indio High School in the Coachella Valley. I come from a Hispanic and Latino community. Culturally, it's always, you're staying here with me, you're gonna be nearby me, you're gonna stay here, you're not gonna go far away. It was always just a dream. Traveling was dreaming. The option of being able to travel was really exciting. Being able to know that there was an actual trip planned to go to Japan and that I might actually be able to go. Being given the okay and the opportunity to go was just amazing, and being in a different country was really cool. I met great people, I ended up making friendships, I got to learn about their culture, and I got to learn about how they did what they did and like why they did it. Teachers and adults need to start talking about traveling and making it an option. Because I know I'm very, very grateful for my travel leader, because if it weren't for her wanting to open that door for us, I wouldn't have gone, and I wouldn't have the traveling bug. I wouldn't want to continue to go to different places, or it would just seem hard to me, and I wouldn't like actually be able to do it. I think they need to know that they're giving their kid a chance of a lifetime, that they're opening their door to something amazing, and that they're gonna be so entirely grateful for it.
So a little EF commercial. That is the company that we go through is EF. Let me tell you, obviously my name is Chris Casper. I've already told you that. Tonight I'm going to be going through the value of travel, who EF is, what we're going to see and do, what's included, and obviously we're going to talk about the price and how to enroll. Why I travel, these are all pictures that I've personally taken. And I love to travel. Even this last year when I got home, we went to Scandinavia this last year. I was home for 2 days and I left on a 5-week road trip. I love to travel. It's in my blood. I want to be outdoors every moment that I have an opportunity. But some of the things, we see some amazing structures. We're going to be going to Paris on this trip. We eat some amazing food. And at times, right, Mr. Stroud, we meet amazing people. Mm-hmm. This is the King of England. So we just happen to be standing at the gate as the King of England's rolling in. So it's pretty amazing day. Why education travel? So this is an education trip. We are going to be learning some things. We're going to have some free time, but it's definitely an educational travel trip. But it introduces new ways of learning. One of the coolest parts of going on an education trip is we're going to stand right where some of these amazing kings stood. We're going to stand right there where some battles took place. We're actually going to go to some concentration camps on this. We're going to Dachau, at least, not some, we're going to one. And so we're going to stand right there and we will really learn some parts of history and we'll get to firsthand experience it, which is amazing. Obviously, a lot of hands-on stuff. We're interacting with the world. We'll get to the airport and we'll go, okay, we're standing in front. I don't know how many of your students have flown or not, but we'll stand in front of the air thing and go, which airline are we on? What time do we have to be there? Where are we going? And we're going to be traveling on all kinds of different varieties of ways throughout this trip. And it's fun to get your students to learn how to travel. You can complete some academic curriculum, so you can actually get some credits for it. And I love it, discovers one's life passions like mine. I love to travel and it's a big part of it. So who is EF? They've been in business for almost 60 years. They have staff on the ground 365 days a year in over 50 countries. So every country we're in, there's an EF person there. I know it's one of the further slides down the line, but if we run into a bus problem, we ran into a bus problem when we were in Paris. Our bus driver he got rear-ended. And so the bus was out of commission. We had to all get off the bus. And there was another bus there not too long later, and we were able to be picked up and taken away, and we didn't lose out much on the trip. So EF is right there continuously, and it's pretty amazing. That was 2 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
Safety and support. So local support, Insight Worldwide, safety incident response team, that's what I'm talking about, where the next bus showed right up and picked us up and was heading on our way. They're flexible on our tour date. We're going to see what goes on with it. We did a Greece and Italy trip about 4 years ago, and that was a postponed trip from COVID. So COVID happened, and some students chose not to travel the next time we went. We went to Greece and Italy. Some people decided to stay on the trip. So if you decide to stay on the trip, not a problem. You just will figure out where we're going, and if something big like that happened, we would figure it out. But there is insurance, and you'll see there's already insurance included in the price. You can always get more, and we'll talk about that a little bit too. There is a 24 above and beyond myself, probably Mr. Straub. There is a tour director that is with us 24/7. He is in the same hotel, he's on the same bus, he is with us the entire trip. When we land in Berlin, he'll be right there to welcome us and stay with us the entire time. This is another short video, it's a 6-minute video. It's gonna show a bit about Berlin, and I can't guarantee we're gonna do all the things that it shows, but it will show the interaction with the tour director and just kind of I'm gonna say kind of a typical day when we're on tour.
Central government building, a bit like your Senate. The first dome was laid in 1880. Now the dome really represents the people. The spiral of mirrors is the centre of Germany. It's where everywhere is measured for you. You stand at the centre of Germany. You reflect on yourself. It's my favourite building in Berlin for the symbolism.
Heidi, thank you so much.
Should we go and check out the Kroger?
Just heard from our local guide all about the specialties here, right? Which is currywurst and the bratwurst. That's right. So we're gonna try to order it now, right? You would just say eine Currywurst, bitte.
So, eine Currywurst bitte. Danke.
Sehr gut.
Ja.
Good. Here we are at the Jewish Museum. It's an incredible building because it manages to convey through its architecture and through the design inside and outside the entire history of the Holocaust. So this is the exhibit that we're going to see right here. It's called Fallen Leaves. Fallen Leaves is what it's called.
This is really chilling.
Just really overwhelming, the sound, the feeling, and everything that's going on right now.
I think if these faces could speak, could say something to you, it would be never forget, right? Because that's what it's all about. So what we're going to see is known as the Memorial to the Murdered Jews of Europe. The monument that you see behind me consists of 2,711 blocks. And you think about your own interpretation of what it stands for. What were your thoughts?
I feel like it's not something you can really even like experience without actually, you have to walk in there.
People would walk by really fast. You know, like glimpse of someone, kind of like memories or shadows.
Everybody on the boat? Hey guys, so we're in Germany. We're on a lake. It's always really significant because historically, that was where the home of the Hohenzollern family was. Frederick the Great was a Hohenzollern. The emperors here, right? All part of the Hohenzollern dynasty. All of them had palaces and castles built out here. This is only about 10 miles from Berlin, but it's a real wonderful nature resort. You ride your bike up here from Berlin. It's a really cool weekend destination, as you can imagine. Welcome welcome to Checkpoint Charlie. Checkpoint Charlie was a place for diplomats and military that would go between the sectors.
Quintessential Checkpoint Charlie stand.
So we're about to go into the Checkpoint Charlie Museum.
It's really surreal everything we're seeing because we just walked on the streets. That's where Checkpoint Charlie used to be, and it's so crazy thinking that now people are just walking where all that used to happen.
This is really a time that were dark days for my people.
People can change the world. People can change what happened. One person can make a difference, and that starts a good chain reaction. That starts a revolution.
Berlin is, by the way, birthplace of the first German democracy. It is the capital of the modern German state. So that's really good.
And this is what you're looking at, the longest stretch of the wall, and it's 2 kilometers long.
The wall came down in November 1989, and they basically said, artists from all over the world, if you want to come, we have this stretch of the wall right here that's pristine. You come and you express yourself and paint something on it. You can actually feel the history emanating from this place. I've done a really good job seeing, getting to know my city here, and now I want you to paint what's meaningful to you about this city.
It would just be like, wow, like there's no words. And you really had to just stand there and like look around and take everything in. So maybe you feel something like you've never felt before.
So here we are at the end of our journey. So you're gonna say goodbye to Berlin, gonna say goodbye to Germany, and I hope that you take some of this experience back. So, Dankeschön und auf Wiedersehen.
I'm gonna pause it right there. Pretty much the end of it anyway. And we are not stopping in Berlin. We will definitely be continuing on, and our tour guide will be continuing on with us. We'll have the same guide the entire time we are there. So here's the plan. We will fly into Berlin, a couple of nights in Berlin, down to Dresden, over to Prague. Prague is amazing. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into these in a moment. Over to Dachau, over to Munich, finally Lucerne and Zurich. This is all the Alps, the Swiss Alps. And then we will end 3 days in Paris. So super exciting, super exciting. I'm going to let you take it in for a minute because it's I love maps and I love looking at where are we going to be, where are we going. So Berlin, Prague, the Alps, and Paris. So obviously the first day we're flying to Germany. You never know how our flights are going to, I never know how our flights are going to turn out until about 3 months before the trip. So about 3 months before the trip, I'll find out if we're flying over a little bit later in the day. And it's kind of nice because you land and then you start traveling all day. That's my hope, is it's almost more of a red eye. We will be flying all night no matter what. But I like to land a little early and we just go all day long and we are wiped out, exhausted by 8, 9 o'clock. But you sleep so very well and you wake up the next morning and you're on Europe time. Everybody's pretty refreshed and we're going. But again, I have no idea until we get there. This is super generalization. Again, until we get a few months out, I'll know all the nitty-gritty details of what different things are we going to see in Berlin, what nitty-gritty details are we going to see in Prague, and all these different things. But we're definitely taking a walking tour. We're definitely seeing the Brandenburg Gate. We're definitely seeing Checkpoint Charlie. We're definitely seeing the Berlin Wall. These are some of the big things that we're definitely going to be seeing while we're there. The Topography Terror Museum. And then we make our way through Dresden. We'll be spending some time in Dresden and then a couple of nights in Prague. The Zwinger Museum, a guided tour of Prague. If you notice from the video, we not only have this guide with us, a lot of the times when we're in these cities, we'll actually have a guide from that country, from that city, that's very specifically knows all the intricate details of what they're going to be showing us. So it's pretty amazing. Anybody been to Prague? Prague's phenomenal. I love that city. I don't know why. There's just something about it that it's one of my favorites for sure. Anyway, so we will be the day 6 going over to Dachau. We'll be visiting Munich. We're going to be visiting, I don't know how to pronounce this, Herrenchiemsee Palace. This is actually a palace that was done after the Berlin or Paris. Why can't I think of Versailles? So it's a smaller version of Versailles, but again, a king made it. It's just beautiful. I was trying to remember which king. Neuschwanstein Castle. So we don't get to go in it. It's so popular that they won't allow tour groups to go through it, but we will get to stop and see it. It's pretty much Cinderella's castle. It's what Cinderella's castle has been modeled after, so we will be going by there. And then on to Lucerne and the Swiss Alps. We have this amazing Swiss Alps experience. And then we're traveling by train by Paris. On to the next slide. There we go. Obviously, we'll see the Eiffel Tower, visit the Louvre, and the Fragonard perfume factory. So it should be amazing. Sounds like an amazing trip to me. Mr. Straub and I were looking at some different trips, and this one seemed to be one of the best. So obviously we'll be spending some time at the Berlin Wall. We will be spending time at the Brandenburg Gate. Dresden's, again, that fun word. Yep. History of Prague. Prague's an amazing city. There you go, Prague Castle, and there's the Fisherman's Castle, and there's all kinds of amazing things in Prague to see. Munich Square. There is Lake Lucerne. I have not been here. I've been in the Alps. I have not been here. I was talking to Mr. Mathis, our English teacher, and he was here, and he was telling me how over-the-top beautiful Lucerne is. It's one of those places that, oh wow, Lucerne, I've never really heard of it. He was like, Mr. Casper, you have no idea. It's one of the most beautiful, picturesque places he's ever been. So, and then of course, the Eiffel Tower. And I'm hoping we're going to take a boat tour, an evening boat tour again. We did that the last time we were in Paris. And you go by Notre Dame, and you go by the Eiffel Tower. It's constantly there, and there's all kinds of things we see, and it's just this amazing boat tour. You can see the different kinds of boats, and that was a highlight, one of my highlights of Paris for sure. So the travel dates stay fairly loose. You can write them down for sure. Graduation that year is Saturday, June 20th. So I always tell EF that we can leave right after graduation, the day after graduation. But the latest we'd return is July 9th. The earliest we leave is the 21st. My actual requested date is the 21st or 22nd, but they have to give us like a 4-day window on, 3-4 day window on either side of that. So we do have some flexibility, and like it says here, it does confirm about 2-3 months before the tour, the exact dates that we're leaving for tour. But it'll be right around, it will be in that window. Questions? All right. What's included? I'm going to step back on this side because I'm hoping that I'm recording this whole thing. Obviously, round trip airfare. Obviously, all of our hotels. It says regional style meals. I think it's going to talk about it in a minute. Breakfast and dinner are always included. 2 meals a day are always included. Lunch is pretty much always on our own. And I say pretty much because sometimes they go, we're paying for lunch, but dinner's on your own. They will always, on our own meals, they always get us to a beautiful square, a wonderful place where there's tons of places to eat, tons of shopping. They'll give us maybe about 2 hours, and Mr. Straub and I are like, okay, who are the groups, who's going with who, and we allow them to kind of venture off into the square and taste the local cuisine. It's always my favorite part of the day. Obviously, there's all kinds of favorite parts of the day. One of my favorite meals, at least, is always the lunch, because I always get the most local cuisine I possibly can. We have students that are buying McDonald's, and I'm like, what? We're in Paris at the Louvre, and they're buying McDonald's, and I'm pulling my hair out. But I always go and find just give me the best local cuisine lunch that you possibly can, and we ate really well on our trips, for sure. Tour director, I've already talked about them being with us 24/7. Obviously all transportation, expert local guides, guided sightseeing, and entrances to all landmarks. I'm going to go back to the local guides. EF, at first I didn't like this, and I do understand it a little bit better. EF will recommend that you come up with, it's a 13-day trip. I think it's like $100, $120 in addition to the cost of the trip. They want you, and unfortunately you would give me cash, or you could give me a check or whatever. I then take that money and I have to transfer it into the local money to pay our local guides. The reality is, they said if they included it in your fee, then you would have to pay a tax on it, then you'd have to pay more for the local. It's this whole tax thing. So they want to do it this way, and it's kind of a pain. We're constantly like hitting banks. Okay, we're now in Prague, we need to get that local money. And so we have to get that local money and exchange it into the local currency. But we figure it out, we make it happen. Everything else is included. What are you responsible for? Passports, visas. There should not be any visas unless you are from a different country. A couple years ago, Europe was talking about doing visas. England is back talking about doing visas. There's no guarantee on them, but obviously you need a passport to go on the trip. Baggage fees. There should not be any baggage fees unless you're taking 4 or 5 bags. Most of these airlines are like American Airlines. You can take 2. And before the trip, we'll have a few meetings and we'll talk about packing. And I try to get it as small as I possibly can for me personally. A carry-on is best. We had some issues with some students that did check luggage, and it was, I think, 2 days later that the luggage showed up. So checking on luggage is always the best because you have it with you continuously. So anyway, there should be no baggage fees. Tips for local guides and the bus drivers. That's what I was bringing up about the extra $100. Obviously snacks and some meals you are responsible for. Booking with confidence, peace of mind. This company's been around a long time. They're amazing. The global travel protection, so there is insurance already in there. I talked about it. If they change the trip because of some big emergency or something happens, if you need to cancel the trip, but maybe you'll go the next year or whatever, that's all included in this. If you feel you need to cancel for whatever reason up to 24 hours before the departure, you can pay more for the trip. You can do an additional insurance. I do want to point out this, risk-free enrollment. You have 7 days after enrollment for a full refund of 100% of your money paid to EF. And our enrollment is $95, which we will get there in a moment. So there you go, cancellation fee up to 1 year. And this is pretty huge. I feel it used to be, I don't know because I'm not EF, I'm just the teacher kind of saying, here's the slideshow they gave me. I feel it was about $400 or $500 if you canceled. It is now just $95 up to 1 year prior to departure. So you have up until June for that. Making it happen. They have a scholarship that you can apply to. You need to do it before November 12th, 2025, so you have a long time to apply for it. I don't know much about it, how much they offer, any of that. I do know that they have this customizable tour fundraising page. I really like to point this out. You can customize it. I would have your student customize it however they want, to be like, hey, I'm going to Europe, and send that out as like Christmas. Hey, instead of buying me a Christmas present, please put $20 towards my trip. Hey pastor, hey friend, uncles, aunts, whatever. It's a great way to advertise your trip to family and friends. So it's kind of a cool little aspect of it. Everything we get, I've definitely talked about it all. Itinerary, logistics, payment protection, safety and support, they're there for us 24/7. And personalized learning. You just saw from that Berlin trip, we're in some amazing historical places and we are learning about it the entire time. We're not just hanging out. We're on a bus at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning and we're on the bus until 9, sometimes 10 o'clock at night. And it's all day and we go all day. And I tell the students, wear your walking shoes because we're putting on 20,000 steps today, but we're good. Let's go. And I always have this positive hopefully positive attitude. So making it happen. Come on, click through it. So the cost of the trip is $5,639. It does include a $200 discount. So after October 4th, it does go up to $5,800. If you've traveled with EF before, you can get additional funds off. Okay. There is a slide or two, but I want to pause here. Any questions?
Adult fee.
Adult fee, yes. So if you want to go, you can go. It's a lot more. We absolutely welcome adults to go on the trip. I know you're like, don't say that. We, depending on obviously how many students go, we do have different chaperones. So this year we have at least three female chaperones on this year's Japan trip, and we definitely, between he and I, are kind of the people that run this trip. And so let me just finish my thought, and then I will definitely call on you. The adult fee is a little bit more because it's less people per room. So let me talk about that because it doesn't really talk about it. Students are 3 to 4 per room, and there's enough bed space for that. Adults are 2 per room. So that's the added cost for the adults then. Yeah. Truly, I have been doing trips, I didn't say this, I've been doing trips for almost 20 years. I taught 8th grade U.S. history for years, and I did DC trips for pretty much all of those 8 years. When I moved here, I started doing the Europe trips. So the more adults we have on the trip, I know you're like, oh my goodness, but I've had some amazing, I don't know how your mom will be on the trip, but we've had some amazing adults on the trip that allow you to be you, and they're just added bonuses. Truly, they help keep safety, they help kind of on and off the bus. They're pretty amazing to have on the trip. So yes. Yes.
How many spots are available?
Great question. I think that's the next slide. It says 15. We can get more than that. I gotta ask for more than that, but right now they're saying, hey, you've got 15 spots, fill it, and then we'll talk. So I feel pretty confident that we can get more than that. To be totally honest with you, that we had 40 people go to Japan. So I'm not saying there's 40 spots available right yet, but they're saying, what are you gonna, how are you gonna book? So secure your spot with a $95 enrollment fee. If you enroll now before October 4th, you get $200 discount. And there you go. Any questions? Any questions? I'm gonna have Mr. Straub hand this out, and you can turn that off, please. Sorry, I'm standing.